Now listen, there's some real good reasons for being a data analyst, but there are sometimes times when I really hate the job. Maybe hate is a strong word. Maybe dislike the job, because overall it's great. There are times and projects and certain situations that really make you dislike, is probably the right word, dislike the role. And that's what we're going to go over in this video. I'm going to tell you 3 reasons I hate. Again, hate being a strong word, but dislike. 3 reasons I dislike being a data analyst. So without any further ado, let's get straight into point number 1. First of all, first reason I hate being a data analyst is that the work quite often can be boring and repetitive. And here's why. In corporate finance or financial services, the work can be cyclical. And what I mean by that is that there are times in the year when there's a lot of exciting projects and work going on. And there are also times in the year when there's not very much exciting projects or any work, interesting work going on. The times during the year when there's not anything exciting going on, then you'll just be working on ad hoc tasks and daily analysis, producing a weekly report, cleaning data, analyzing data, and doing more of the, what I see is the more of the boring and repetitive side of things. But on the flip side, there are times in the year when new regulations come out. There's been an influx of clients into a certain industry, or clients need more help certain times of the year. Then they'll come to you with exciting projects and you'll be able to work on those projects. I'll give you another good example. For example, when we were waiting on funding to come through for a large software project we were working on, we'd done all the business case, we'd done all the work, we'd created case studies, we'd mapped out everything from where we'd source the data, where we'd do this, everything was mapped out. But while we were waiting for that funding to come through, we were essentially just working on normal daily tasks, which weren't half as exciting as working on the project side of things. And that's what I mean by the work can be cyclical. It works in cycles. There are times, dead times during the year when you're working on not very many exciting things. And there are really busy and hectic times of the year when you're working, when you have a hand in almost everything. You could be working on programming along with a development project, along with you're creating a set of dashboards for a client and everything all at once. As a data analyst, when you're working on a large project, a cross-functional project, which means it involves multiple teams throughout the organization or even external teams. You could be working with the finance team, the legal team, the operations team. In those kinds of projects, what often happens is you'll receive the project, complete or conduct your work on it. You'll send it off to another department, and while they're doing their work, you'll get ready for phase 2. During that phase 2, it depends on how long the finance team, the legal team, the operations team is going to take with their side of the project. And while you might set a deadline, it's quite likely those deadlines are quite fluid. And so when you're waiting for your phase 2 to commence, the work you might be doing isn't going to be as exciting as working on that particular project. You could be doing daily analysis, daily work, ad hoc tasks, basic client requests. And so there are also those times when the work isn't quite as exciting as it possibly could be. But again, it works in cycles. But towards December tends to be a dead time because everyone's getting ready for the holidays. No one wants any extra work, and companies don't really produce any additional information. Clients don't really come to you with requests. And then after the holiday period, circa January, February, March, things start to pick up really quick. Everyone's come back from holiday. They need to meet their deadlines. Clients need additional information, and so requests start coming into the inbox like boom. So again, it works in cycles. If a client I'm working for publishes their annual report in, let's say, March then becomes a pivotal time for us working for that client, because they'll be publishing new reports, they'll be publishing new financial metrics, they'll be publishing new information about their company. And so we need to stay on top of that. And then March becomes that central time. For the rest of the year, we may not be working on very many exciting things for that client. But once that new report comes through, once that new filing comes through, once that new annual report is published, then that's where we really start to do the bulk of the work for that client. Moving on to number 2. Another reason I hate being a data analyst is that there are often teams and people that don't understand your role or your responsibilities. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this, you understand there are data analysts who specialize in different things. There are data analysts who work with a certain set of tools, but there can be clients, there can be stakeholders, there can be even managers, not direct managers, but senior managers who don't understand what you work with, what your specialities are, and there can be the expectation for you to do more than what your job description says. Now, I understand this might be a personal experience of mine because I work in a startup style division or team where the division is very new. So you do have to take on more responsibility than you otherwise would have in other roles, in other industries. But as an example, there was a large software project we were working on. This project has been going on for forever, and we, the data analysts, there were 3 of us assigned to this project. We'd be given work that we'd never done before. On one occasion, we got told to create a SQL warehouse, upload data into SQL, and then update it every couple of weeks, which isn't part of the data analyst role. It's more on the data engineer side of things. And so there are times when people don't understand your role, and it can be interesting or frustrating trying to explain that to them. And the last reason I hate being a data analyst is the data itself. In the team I work in, we have a number of subscription or external databases which we use to collect data from. These databases are paid for handsomely, I might add, but sometimes the data they contain is just so wrong, to the point where there are certain databases which we now know are unreliable for certain types of information. If we're looking for, let's say, audit fee, we have database A and database B. We know database A is unreliable for that information, even though it includes it. Database A will either report audit fee wrong, or it'll have a blank number, when in database B, it will be there. And that becomes frustrating when you need to export for a project multiple parameters. So you have to go to one database for a certain parameter, and then another database for another parameter, and then you have to find a common parameter so that you can match each different parameter up. We call it a matching parameter, which is usually the company registration number. The company registration number is the number the company uses to be identified on Companies House, the database for companies where they publish their filings and reports. There are certain databases which don't follow the format that Companies House has set out. Now, as a basic example, Companies House for company reg number uses leading zeros. There are databases that completely disregard leading zeros. And so what you're getting is a completely different company reg number. Beats me how that works. And so if we need information from a certain database, you need to find a different matching parameter to be able to combine and transform those 2 pieces of data together. Now, what a database does is the information that it has, the data that it has, they use algorithms to scour a company's annual report, their filings, and all the other reports that a company files, and then pulls it into their database. Now, these algorithms can be very hit or miss, and we've almost had to understand which algorithms for which certain databases work well in certain cases, and in which cases they're completely unreliable. In the cases we know that data could be unreliable, we'll have to go straight to the source, i.e. the annual report, find that specific parameter and check it against the parameter given in the database. And that can be quite time consuming, especially when you have a tight deadline to maintain. And there you have it. 3 things I hate about being a data analyst. Again, hate being a strong word. I dislike about being a data analyst. If you're interested in 3 reasons I love being a data analyst, let me know down in the comments below and I'll make a video on that. That's all for this video. I hope this video was useful, or at least entertaining. If it was, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.